I've watched 47 dads start businesses in the last 18 months. 31 of them quit within 90 days. Not because they were lazy, not because their ideas were bad, because they tried to build a business that needs single guy time with a dad schedule. So this is my blueprint. Not motivation, not hustle, not hype. A step-by-step way to build a real business without becoming absent. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to focus on this week and what to ignore for the next year. And I'll show you the exact same framework I use with working dads who have 5 to 10 hours a week. Let's go. Let's define the goal properly. Most people say, I want more money. That's vague, and vague goals create messy businesses. For a working dad, making it actually means 3 things. 1, your income doesn't rely on panic or constant effort. 2, your business fits your life instead of competing with it. 3, your family doesn't get what's left of you. If your business only works when you are exhausted, it's not freedom. It's just another job with worse hours. And in about 8 minutes, I'll show you exactly why most dads quit at the exact wrong moment. But first, quick background. I've built businesses across different industries, and I've worked with dads trying to do the same with limited time and energy. One thing became clear fast. If the business doesn't fit your season of life, you don't push through. You burn out or you disappear at home. I learned this watching my own dad. He worked hard his entire life, but the business model he was in demanded everything: time, energy, presence, and there was nothing left. So this blueprint is built for dads who refuse to replay that pattern. You can build something real without sacrificing everything else, but it requires a different approach. Level 1, the fundamentals: income versus assets. There are 2 ways to earn money. You trade time for income, or you build something that pays you back. As a dad, you don't need more hours, you need less dependency on you. That means systems, not grind. This connects back to leverage from a previous video. Check that one out if you haven't seen it. Time is capped, leverage is not. So your goal isn't work more, it's to make the same work worth more over time. Focus, no sugarcoating. Here's where most working dads lose years. They try to build 3 things at once. A bit of this idea, a bit of content, a bit of outreach, a bit of ads. Nothing works because nothing gets enough practice. So let's be direct. Focus isn't a productivity trick, it's survival. 1 person, 1 offer, 1 channel. That's the only way to build momentum when time is limited. Now, before I show you the framework, I need to warn you about something. There are 5 stages every business goes through, and most dads quit at stage 3 without realizing how close they were. Every business goes through the same 5 stages. Not theory, reality. Stage 1 is excitement. I finally found the thing. You're motivated, you're optimistic, you think this might be the answer. Energy is high and doubt is low. Stage 2, resistance. This is harder than I thought. Everything takes longer. Nothing feels smooth. You're working but results aren't showing up yet. Stage 3, the quit point. I'm not cut out for this. And this is where temptation creeps in. Maybe I should try something else. This is where most people disappear. Not because it doesn't work, but because the fantasy is gone and reality is boring. I saw this happen to someone last month. He'd been doing outreach for 6 weeks, 42 days of consistent messages. Then he stopped, said it's not working. 2 weeks later, 3 of his old messages got replies. But he'd already moved on to a new idea. Stage 4, competence. I can solve these problems now. Here's where you stop guessing. You know what matters. You know what to ignore. The work becomes clearer. Stage 5, results. The system pays me back. Not instantly, not magically, predictably. And here's what matters. It's not about finding the right thing. It's about staying long enough to become capable. Most people keep restarting at stage 3. That's why they stay stuck in an endless loop. Okay, we're at the halfway point. You know the 5 stages and why most people quit early. Next, the simple business model that actually fits dad life and the execution framework that makes it real. Level 2, you don't start with a logo. You start with a hungry crowd. A hungry crowd has 4 traits. They are in real pain. They can afford help. They are easy to find. The problem is growing, not shrinking. If you miss any of these, you'll fight uphill the entire time. 1 avatar, 1 offer, one channel. The fastest way to momentum. One person, one problem, one promise, one channel. Most dads don't need more ideas, they need fewer decisions. Complexity feels productive. It's usually avoidance. When you're overwhelmed with choices, pick the simple path and commit for 90 days. Your offer wins when 4 things are clear. The outcome is desirable, it feels likely to work, it feels fast enough, and it feels simple enough. People don't just buy results, they buy less friction, less time, less effort, and less decision fatigue. If your offer increases any of these, it will struggle. Build it right, foundation over speed. A lot of people try to scale something fragile. They market harder instead of fixing what they deliver. But here's the truth. If the product disappoints, more attention just exposes it faster. The loop is simple. Build, get clients, improve, repeat. That's how you build something fast. That's how you build something that lasts. Level 3, execution that fits dad life. Inputs over outcomes. Stop setting goals you can't control. You can't control sales today. You can control actions. Examples of controllable inputs: 5 conversations per day, 2 videos per week, 1 offer improvement per week, 2 sales calls per week. Businesses grow from boring practice, not motivation, not inspiration, just consistent, boring action. Here's the rule that removes emotion. Count in hundreds. If you want results, ask, how many hundreds did I do? 100 messages, 100 comments, 100 videos, 100 follow-ups. If you've done 10 and you're discouraged, you're not failing. It's just early. I use this rule myself when I feel like something's not working. I check the count. And almost always I'm at 20 or 30 reps, not 100. So I keep going. Level 4, staying stable. Paying yourself. If you never pay yourself, you stay stressed. Stressed founders make bad decisions. Create a rule. Some money for family stability, some for growth, some for reserves. It doesn't need to be perfect. It needs to be consistent, because financial stress kills more businesses than bad ideas. Level 5, why this matters. The real point. The goal isn't to win business. The goal is to stay in the game long enough to become someone your kids respect. Your kids won't remember your hustle. They'll remember your availability, your patience, your presence. I think about this a lot because I watched my dad give everything to work. And I know he did it for us, but we needed him more than we needed extra hours he worked. So build a business that fits your life, not a life sacrifice to your business. That's the entire point. So here's the blueprint. Define the real goal. Income that doesn't require panic. Focus. One person, one offer, one channel. Understand the 5 stages and don't quit at stage 3. Start with a hungry crowd. Build an offer that removes friction, not just promises results. Control inputs, not outcomes. Count in hundreds, not tens. Pay yourself consistently. That's it. No hacks, no shortcuts, just a system that fits the life you actually have. Look, I know this isn't sexy. It's not a viral strategy. It's not a 4-hour work week, but it's real. And it works for dads who are willing to be patient and disciplined. If you've been trying to build something, but it keeps competing with your family, this is your reset. Pick one thing, commit for 90 days, track your hundreds, and see what happens. Before we get into the rules, we need to reset how most people think about balance. Balance doesn't mean equal time. It means clear ownership. When nothing is clearly owned, everything is half done. That's when stress shows up. So these rules aren't about doing more. They're about removing friction from the life you have and the business you're building. Let's start with the first rule. Rule 1, separate roles, not hours. Most dads try to balance life and business by managing hours. That almost never works because the real drain isn't time, it's role switching. When you're with your family but thinking about work, you're not really there. And when you're working but worrying about home, your focus is split. That split attention is exhausting. You can work fewer hours and feel more tired if the roles are blurred. So the rule is simple, one role at a time. When you're working, work. When you're with your family, be present, no overlap. This doesn't mean working more, it usually means working cleaner. Here's what this looks like in real life. You decide ahead of time when work starts and when work stops. And once that decision is made, you stop renegotiating with yourself. Because every time you say, I'll just check one thing, you pull yourself out of the moment. Clear roles give your brain permission to rest. That rest is what makes consistency possible. Rule 2, protect energy before time. Most productivity advice is obsessed with time. Busy dads need to think about energy because an hour with no energy isn't useful. It just feels heavy. Here's something simple but important. Low energy turns easy tasks into hard ones. So instead of asking, how can I find more time? Ask, when do I have the most usable energy? For most dads, that's early mornings or a short quiet window in the evening. Not late nights and not when everyone is exhausted. When you do important work during high energy windows, you need less willpower. And when you rely on less willpower, you last longer. Another mistake dads make here is trying to use every spare minute. That sounds productive, but it removes recovery. Without recovery, consistency disappears. Rest isn't wasted time, it's what makes tomorrow possible. So the rule isn't about squeezing more in. It's about matching the right work to the right energy. So protect energy first and time follows. Rule 3, define enough in advance. This is the rule most people skip, and it's the one that quietly breaks everything. If you don't decide what enough looks like, your business will always take more. More time, more attention, and more mental space. Because there's always another improvement, another idea, and another thing you can do. Let me make this real. There was a period in my life where my wife would take my kids out for 12 hours or more just so that I could work without interruption. She did that to support me. And when they came home, I was still working. Not because something urgent happened, but because there was always more. More to finish, more to tweak, more to push. That's when it hit me. There will never be enough time unless you decide what is enough. That wasn't a time problem, it was a decision problem. Now here's the important nuance. This isn't about working as little as possible. The more focused and intentional time you can reasonably give your business, the faster you'll reach your goals. But only if that time is planned, protected, and aimed at the right things. The real goal isn't perfect balance, it's integration. Work fits into your life, not life squeezed around your work. So this rule is about deciding in advance. When work stops, what progress is enough for today, and when family gets the rest of you. Without those decisions, you will always feel left behind, even on productive days. Defining enough doesn't slow progress. It protects the people you're building this for. Let's connect the 3 rules. Rule 1 gives you mental clarity. Rule 2 gives you usable energy. Rule 3 gives you emotional boundaries. Together they remove the constant tension between life and business. Here's the test. If your business only works when you're constantly pushing, it doesn't fit your life. A good system should feel clear, repeatable, and slightly boring. Boring is good. Boring means predictable, and predictable means sustainable. That's how dads build a business that don't cost them their health or their family. Final thought. Balance isn't something you achieve once. It's something your system creates. When the system is right, you don't need to rely on willpower. And when willpower isn't doing all the work, progress stops feeling heavy. You don't need to choose between presence and progress. You need rules that protect both. I've never been naturally organized. I've fallen off routines more than I can count. And I still built a business. Not because I fixed myself, because I stopped trying to and built a system designed for someone like me. Let me describe a Sunday night most people won't admit to. Kids are finally asleep. You sit down with good intentions. You open your laptop. 3 browser tabs of productivity systems. A Notion template you set up 6 weeks ago with 2 entries in it. A journal that had a great first week, then nothing. You spend 40 minutes reading about how to be more consistent. Then you close your laptop. Tell yourself, Monday is the fresh start. Monday comes, the week gets busy. Friday arrives, and nothing moved. So you reset again. I lived that cycle for years, and then life got so hard that even the reset stopped happening. The 3 closest people to me got ill at the same time. I was waking up at 1 p.m., going to sleep at 5 a.m., avoiding everything that felt difficult. The business sat still for months. That wasn't laziness. That was a man with no system that could survive a hard lesson. And here's what that period taught me, something I couldn't have learned any other way. The problem was never discipline, the problem was design. The system I was trying to run needed time, energy, and predictability. When those ran out, the system died. So I built a different one designed to survive. Here's what makes this so frustrating. You already know what consistency requires. Show up, do the work, repeat. Simple in theory. But every system you've tried assumes the same thing. That you have control of your schedule, that your mornings are quiet, that your evenings are free. That nobody's going to get sick, need you, or turn a planned work session into a crisis. When you add a full-time job, young kids, and a marriage you're trying to protect, rigid systems don't bend, they break. And when they break, most people don't miss a day, they disappear for 3 weeks because the guilt of falling off is heavier than the task itself. I've heard the same phrases from people in this situation over and over. I start strong and then life happens. Sound familiar? By the time the kids are asleep, my brain is gone. That one hits differently. I watch productivity videos, but my week is still chaos. That last one, that was me for 2 years straight. The fix is not what people think it is. What I'm about to show you is the one shift that makes consistency possible for someone with your life. Here's the reframe. The problem is not that you're inconsistent. The problem is that you're using a system built for someone who doesn't exist in your life. Someone with 10 free hours a week, no dependence, a flexible calendar, 0 unpredictable interruptions. That person is not you, and no amount of discipline will make this system work in your life. When I got serious, really serious, I stopped trying to be consistent every day. I started protecting one 30-minute window per week. Not a morning routine, not a daily habit tracker. One anchor, once a week. And everything changed. Not because I became more disciplined, but because I stopped asking myself to do something impossible. Quick question before we get into the system. What's the one thing that keeps derailing your consistency? Kids, work, energy, or something else? Drop it in the comments. I read every single one. Let me show you why most people stay stuck. They decide to be more consistent. They expect the new routine to hold. Imagine the business growing because of it. Then one bad week hits. Sick child, overtime, hard night, the routine breaks. And instead of picking it back up, they feel like they are back to zero. I call this the expectation gap. The gap between the consistency you expected and the reality of your actual week. The gap isn't failure. It's a sign the system was too fragile for your life. Here's what most productivity advice won't tell you. Consistency for someone with your life doesn't mean every day. It means never stopping completely. One anchor per week keeps the business alive through any storm. 2 bad weeks won't kill you. 2 months of nothing will. The goal isn't a perfect streak. The goal is a system that always has a way back in. 3 parts. Part 1, the weekly anchor. 1 fixed window per week. 30 minutes. Non-negotiable, but only 30 minutes. 3 questions only. 1, what is the one thing that must move forward this week? 2, what are my 3 available time slots? 3, what is the one task I keep putting off? Write the answers down. That's your week. No Notion setup, no color-coded calendar, no 5-step morning routine. 3 questions, paper or phone notes. This replaces every productivity system you've ever downloaded and abandoned. My window is Sunday night after the kids are in bed. 20 to 30 minutes, 3 questions, done. Everything flows from that one anchor. Part 2 is the one most people skip, and it's the one that protects the whole system. The minimum viable week. Some weeks will be good. 3 solid work sessions, real progress. Other weeks will be survival mode. Overtime, sick kids, no sleep. The minimum viable week is your answer to survival mode. If you watched the last video, you'll recognize this idea. We're stripping it back even further for the weeks when even energy mapping feels like too much. 2 things every single week, no matter what. 1 outreach action, 1 piece of content, or 1 follow-up. That's it. Not 10 things. Not a full calendar. 2 things that keep the business breathing even when the week tries to kill it. Here's why this works. Most people have an all or nothing relationship with a business week. Full plan or nothing. The minimum viable week removes that trap. Even on the worst week of the year, you did 2 things. The business didn't stop, You didn't fall off, you just had a minimum week. And minimum weeks are indefinitely better than 0 weeks. Part 3, the reset protocol. You will fall off. Not might, will. Everyone does. The difference between people who build something and people who don't isn't how rarely they fall off. It's how fast they get back up. Most people wait for Monday or the first of the month or a fresh start that never quite arrives. Here's the reset protocol. The moment you realize you've gone quiet, open your weekly anchor. Answer the 3 questions. Pick one task. Do it in the next 24 hours. Not next week, not Monday, the next 24 hours. I learned this a hard way. During my rock bottom period, I made a decision to change things. Not on a Monday, not at the start of a new month. It was a random Thursday afternoon. I acted on it that same day. By the following week, the business was moving again. Not perfectly, but moving. The day doesn't matter, the decision does. And the reset isn't a new beginning. It's just the next rep. You don't need to become an organized person. You need a system that works for a disorganized one. That's not lowering the bar. That's being honest about the game you're actually playing. Most people with a full-time job already have the skills. They just don't know how to package them. Here's what most business advice gets wrong. It tells you to build a course, grow an audience, or create a funnel. All of that takes months. What I'm going to show you takes a weekend, end of a long shift, sitting in the car before walking through the front door. That buffer zone most of us know, where you just sit for a few minutes before the noise starts. I had a notebook in the passenger seat. In it, 3 problems I'd solved at work that week, a process I'd fixed, a situation I'd turn around, a decision that saved the team hours. And I remember thinking, I just did all of that for someone else, for a fixed salary. Somewhere out there, a business owner has the exact same problem, and nobody is solving it for them. I was getting paid a salary to solve problems that small business owners would happily pay $1,000 for. I just hadn't packaged it yet. That was the moment I stopped thinking about what business to start and started thinking about what I already knew how to do. And here's what that shift unlocked, because most people never make it this far. The fastest path to your first $1,000 isn't something new. It's something you've already been doing for years. Here's the problem though. You've probably already chosen your offer type. Maybe you watched a video, did some research, narrowed it down. But choosing and packaging are 2 completely different things. This video is about the second part. Turning that choice into something specific enough that someone hands you $1,000 for it. Because here's where most people get stuck. You know you have the skills. You've solved real problems at work. People rely on you. But the advice says, build a course, create a funnel, grow an audience first. And when you have a full-time job and a family, the advice feels impossible. So most people do nothing, not because they lack skills, because the gap between I've chosen an idea and I have something someone will pay for now feels too wide. I made this mistake myself. I invested around $60,000 into a business built on ambition, not proven skills. I walked away when I ran the numbers and saw the risk clearly. It cost me time and money, but it taught me one thing. The fastest business is always built on what's already proven. What I'm about to show you is the bridge most people never build. Here's the reframe. Stop trying to create something new. Start extracting what already works. The most sellable offers aren't the biggest. They are the most specific. I will order your sales process and give you 3 fixes in 90 minutes. I will review your team bottleneck and hand you a simple action plan. I will look at your client pipeline and tell you exactly where you are losing money. Specific, timed, deliverable. That's what high trust buyers pay for. Do me a favor, drop your job title in the comments right now. I'll tell you what your offer could be. Let me show you why most people never make it past the idea stage. They set out to build an offer, expect it done in a week, and then imagine clients coming in shortly after. Then reality hits, the niche keeps changing, the messaging never feels right, and the website takes 3 weeks. The offer outline grows to 47 modules. 3 months later, nothing sold. I call this the expectation gap. The gap between what you expected to build and the reality of your actual time and energy. That gap doesn't mean you failed. It means the design was wrong for your life. Don't build for your imaginary future self with unlimited time. Build for the version of you that exists right now. Not the version with a free calendar and unlimited focus. Small, specific, sellable, fast. That's the only offer that survives contact with a real schedule. 3 steps. Let's go. Step 1. Extract your core skill. Grab a piece of paper. Write down 3 problems you solved at work this week. Not your job title. 3 actual problems. A bottleneck you cleared. A conversation you handled that others avoided. A decision that saved you time or money. Which one would a business owner pay to have solved? That's your skill. That's your foundation of your offer. For me, it was my operational problem solving from my airline years, summarized under one umbrella, keeping complex logistics moving under pressure. That skill alone, packaged as a 90-minute audit, would have been worth $1,000 to any small operations business. I just hadn't seen it in that way. 3 more examples across different job types. Recruitment. You figure out why clients lose talent every day. A business owner with the same problem pays $1,000 for 90 minutes of your brain. Operations. You fix bottlenecks before they become disasters. That clarity is worth $1,000 to a business owner drowning in broken processes. Finance. You spot where money leaks before anyone notices. A small business losing $5,000 a month in bad structure pays $1,500 to find it fast. You don't need to be famous. You just need to solve one specific problem someone is already losing money over. Step 2, this is where most people overthink it. Here's how to keep it dead simple. Package it as a high trust service, 4-part formula. In the time frame, I help your specific person get one clear result without their biggest fear or frustration. 3 examples. In 90 minutes, I help small business owners find where leads go cold without changing their whole system. In 1 session, I help professionals identify the one offer they can sell this month without quitting their job. In 90 minutes, I help operations managers document the one bottleneck costing their team hours without a full overhaul. If you got 30 seconds, pause and write your own version now. If not, drop it in the comments when you're done. Either way, I want to see it. Now pricing. Aim for $500 to $1,500 for your first offer. That range is high enough to be taken seriously and low enough for a yes without a board meeting. It's a sweet spot for a first trust transaction. You're not charging for your time, you're charging for the outcome. A $1,000 session that saves someone $10,000 in wrong hires isn't expensive, it's cheap. Delivery format that fits a real schedule. 1 90-minute session, one pager action plan within 24 hours. That's it. Saturday morning, 2 evenings a week. No studio, no camera, no complicated tech. Step 3, test it before you perfect it. I've seen people spend 4 months building the perfect website for an offer nobody wanted. I've done it myself as well. I've also seen someone send 3 messages on a Tuesday night and book their first 750 call by Thursday. The difference wasn't talent. 1 person tested and 1 person polished. So take your offer, send it to 3 people this week using the async close method. Tell them what you'll do, what they'll walk away with, and the price. Yes means you have a business. No means ask what would have made them say yes. That feedback is worth more than any branding course. For your first 3 clients, consider discounting. Charge $300 instead of $1,000. This isn't because your time is worth less. It's a deliberate trade. Price for proof. In exchange for a testimonial, a case study, and 1 referral. Proof is the most valuable asset you can own in the first 90 days. Once you have it, you charge full price with confidence. Then as you deliver, track one thing. What question comes up in every single session? That question is your next piece of content. That question is your course module one day. But right now, just deliver. Get the results, build the proof. You're not just an employee. You've got years of battle-tested expertise. The only thing missing was the package. I made a decision long time ago. I refuse to build a business that costs my family. That means building something small enough, specific enough, and real enough to fit inside the life I already have. Small, specific, sellable. That's how it starts. I watched 30 people waste 6 months on this exact mistake. They couldn't pick what to sell, so they researched, they tweaked, they planned, and months disappeared. But when I gave them this filter, most of them picked an offer in under an hour, and 3 of them had paying clients within 2 weeks. Here's why choosing your first offer feels impossible. You're not choosing between good and bad ideas. You're choosing between multiple could work ideas. And when everything could work, your brain starts asking these questions. What if I pick the wrong one? What if I waste time? What if I'm not good enough yet? What if the market changes? So instead of choosing, you gather information. And that feels responsible, but it's a trap because information doesn't create income, offers do. So I don't try to find the perfect offer. I try to find the fastest offer to get proof. Proof kills overthinking. Let's make this easy. Your first offer is not your forever offer. It's a test. It's a stepping stone. It's a way to get data, confidence, and testimonials so you can stop guessing. If you treat your first offer like a marriage, you'll delay for years. If you treat it like a 30-day experiment, you can pick today. I'll show you the exact tiebreaker I use when I'm stuck between two options. But first, the filter. The framework I use, the 4-fit filter. A first offer should fit 4 things. 1, you. What can you actually deliver? 2, the market. What people already pay for. 3, your life. Time and energy constraints. 4, fast proof. You can get results quickly. If your offer fails one of them, you'll struggle. Let's go through them. Fit number 1 is scale fit. What you can deliver now. You don't need to be the best in the world. You just need to create a real result. So start with this question. What can I help someone do faster, easier, and with less stress? For instance, a fitness coach, lose 5 to 10 kilos with a plan they actually stick to. A mortgage broker, perhaps get approved faster and avoid common paperwork delays. A wedding photographer, book more premium clients without lowering prices. You get the idea. If you're stuck, don't list passions. List problems you've already solved. That's where your offer comes from. But here's where most people mess this up. They make it vague. Watch what happens when you don't. I saw someone this month. They'd been calling themselves a HR consultant for weeks, getting polite interest, then silence. So we wrote it. In 14 days, I helped small business owners reduce hiring mistakes by installing a simple screening process and interview script, so they stop wasting weeks on the wrong people. Same person, completely different offer. And within 5 days, they had 2 discovery calls booked. That's why your first offer isn't about being perfect. It's about being clear enough that someone can say yes without needing a 30-minute explanation. Hold on to that clarity idea. It connects to the 1-sentence template I'll show you in a few minutes. Fit number 2, market fit. What people already pay for. The market always pays for the same categories. More revenue, lower costs, save time, reduced risk, and fewer headaches. So ask, is this problem painful enough that someone would pay to fix it? A simple check. If people complain about it constantly and they've already tried to fix it, they will pay for help. What professionals already pay for? Mortgage brokers pay for better lead quality because wasted calls kill their week. Wedding photographers pay for positioning systems because busy isn't the same as booked. E-commerce owners pay for conversion improvements because a 1% lift can change the whole month. The first offer should be a painkiller, not a vitamin. A vitamin is nice, but a painkiller gets bought. Fit number 3, life fit. It must fit your schedule. This one is huge because if your offer requires 20 hours a week to deliver and you only have 5, you'll hate it and you'll quit. So ask, what can I deliver in 1 to 3 hours a week per client? My approach, make it short, make it structured, make it repeatable. Instead of ongoing consulting forever, try this. A 2-week sprint or a 30-day implementation or a fixed number of sessions. Busy life requires clean boundaries. Your first offer should make your life easier, not heavier. It should fit the week you actually have, not the week you wish you had. Fit number 4, fast proof. Your first offer should create a win in days or weeks, not months, because speed builds belief. So I ask, What result can I reasonably help someone achieve in 7 to 14 days? Examples: lift conversion on a key page, reduce no-shows, improve inquiry handling, install a simple follow-up system, remove the one thing that keeps killing momentum. Fast proof creates testimonials. Testimonials creates confidence. Confidence makes selling easier. Okay, we're halfway through. You now have the 4-foot filter. Next up, the offer ladder that makes choosing even easier and the exact one-sentence template you can use today. Stay with me. Instead of choosing one offer out of thin air, I choose from the offer ladder. Start small and move up. Step 1, audit or assessment. What's wrong plus what to do. Step 2, implementation sprint. Done with you, fast win. Step 3, ongoing support. Only after proof exists. Most beginners jump to step 3, that's why they struggle. Because ongoing support requires trust and proof. A sprint requires less trust, so it's easier to sell. And this ladder connects directly to the template coming up next. How to write the offer in one sentence. Once I pick the offer, I write it in one sentence. In time frame, I help specific person get specific result without common pain. Examples: in 14 days, I help mortgage brokers increase qualified inquiries without wasting time on no-shows and time wasters. In 14 days, I help wedding photographers book more premium clients without discounting or posting every day. In 10 days, I help e-commerce owners reduce abandoned carts and lift conversions without changing the product. If you can't say it in one sentence, it's not clear enough yet. The mistake that keeps people stuck: too many things. Most people kill their first offer by stuffing it with features. They try to cover everything because they're afraid someone won't buy. But the opposite is true. The more complicated it sounds, the less it sells. So keep it to one promised outcome and 3 things you deliver max. Outcome: reduce hiring mistakes. What you deliver: screening scorecard, interview script, job ad rewrite, plus onboarding checklist. Clear beats complete. The tiebreaker. If you're still stuck, remember I said I'd showed you the tiebreaker. If I still can't decide between 2 offers, I use these 3 questions. Which one can I get proof for faster? Which one can I deliver with the least stress? Which one can I explain in one sentence without rambling? The winner is the offer you can ship this week, not the offer you dream about for 6 months. Now here's the part most people skip, and it costs them weeks. How to test it without building anything. The way to test the offer without building anything: write the one sentence. Write 3 things you deliver. Message 10 people and ask a simple question. Quick one: I'm thinking about offering this. One sentence. Is this something you or someone you know would want? Don't build a whole house before you know someone wants to live in it. Test with conversations first. If people respond with curiosity, you're close. If people ignore it, you adjust the offer. That's how you test without wasting weeks. First clients, free or low price to get proof. If you're early, here's the smartest move. Run the first 3 to 5 clients free or at a low price. In exchange for a testimonial, permission to use results as a case study, and 1 intro if it worked. Because the first goal is proof. Once you have proof, pricing gets easier, selling gets easier, and your offer gets sharper. This is the exact approach I used when I started. And it's what I do again tomorrow if I had to rebuild from zero. So if you're starting again, this is how I choose my first offer. It's not forever. It's a 30-day test. Use the 4-foot filter. Skill, market, life, fast proof. Start with the offer ladder. Assessment, sprint, ongoing. Write it in one sentence. Keep what you deliver to 3 things. Test it with 10 messages. Get proof with 3 to 5 early clients. That's it. No overthinking required. If you've been stuck for months trying to decide, this is your reset. Pick something you can ship, get proof, then improve. That's how it becomes real. And look, I get it. Choosing feels risky. But staying stuck is riskier, because every week you delay is a week someone else is getting the proof you need. So use this filter today. Write your one sentence. Test it with 10 people. Then come back and tell me what happened. 6 weeks after I sorted my employment contract, I had a paying client. No website, no ads, no cold DMs, no posting on social media every day hoping someone notices. One conversation, that's it. But here's the part that still surprises me. The method I used is almost the exact opposite of what you'll find in every how to get clients video on YouTube. And the conventional advice? The stuff everyone tells you to do first, it's specifically designed to fail when you are employed. Let me show you what actually works. The conventional advice trap. There's a standard playbook for getting your first client. You've probably seen it. Build a website, pick a niche, post on LinkedIn every day. Grow your audience, then pitch. It sounds logical for someone who's already left their job. For someone who's still employed, it's the slowest, most exhausting path possible. And most people burn out before they ever get a single client. Build a website first takes weeks. You don't have weeks. Post consistently on social. You're too visible. Wrong audience sees it. Grow an audience, then sell. You need a client now, not in 6 months. Cold outreach. Strangers ignore you when you have no proof yet. The problem isn't the advice. The problem is the advice assumes you have unlimited time and no job to protect. You have neither. But here's what nobody tells you. Being employed is actually your biggest advantage. You just need to use it differently. Let me take you back to where this started for me. Years ago, I was performing music professionally. By the time I was 18, I was earning 6 figures. From the outside, it looked like success. But underneath, I had no real structure, no repeatable system, just income that could disappear as quickly as it arrived. That experience taught me something that stayed with me for years. Money without a solid, repeatable system is just chaos. So when I eventually decided to build a proper side business, I didn't want chaos. I needed something stable, something I could find without gambling my family's income on it. And that meant understanding something most entrepreneurs never learn, because they go all in before they figure it out. My first client didn't come from a fancy funnel. It came from a guy I already knew. Former professional contact. Someone I'd worked alongside for years. Someone who already trusted me. I knew the exact kind of operational headaches he dealt with daily. I'd seen them up close. I didn't send a cold pitch. I didn't have a website to send him to. I just sent a message checking in, which turned into a conversation. And in that conversation, I simply asked him how he was handling a specific problem I knew his team faced. He vented and told me how much time it was costing them. And I said, I've actually been building a solution for exactly that. Let me show you how it works. He didn't ask for my portfolio. He didn't ask for my website. He didn't ask for references. He said yes, because he already trusted me. And the reason that worked isn't luck. It comes down to one thing most people completely overlook when they are looking for their first client. Here's a question most people never ask themselves before they start looking for clients. How many people do you already know right now who have a problem you could solve? Not strangers, people who already know you, trust you, and respect what you do for a living. I call this the warm network method, and it's built on one simple truth. Your first client almost certainly already knows who you are. There are 3 types of people in your existing network who are most likely to become that first client. Type 1, former colleagues, people who've seen your work firsthand. They already have proof you are capable. You don't need to convince them. Type 2, people in your industry who have a problem you've already solved, even if solved it meant solving it for your employer. Type 3, people adjacent to your industry who need the knowledge you take for granted every single day. Former colleagues, industry contacts, adjacent network. Knowing who to talk to is the easy part. Most people still mess up what happens next because they turn a conversation into a pitch. Here's how to avoid that. The fastest way to kill a potential client relationship before it starts: lead with what you offer. The moment you say, I'm starting a business, can I help you with X? You become a salesperson, and nobody wants to be someone's first sale. Instead, lead with curiosity. I call it the problem first conversation. 3 questions in this order. Question 1. What's the biggest challenge in your business right now? You're listening, not pitching. Question 2. How long has that been a problem? This tells you how urgent it is. Urgent means they'll pay to fix it. Question 3. Have you looked at ways to solve it? This tells you whether there's a gap you can fill. If the answer aligns with what you do, then and only then you say, that's interesting because that's exactly what I've been working on. Want me to show you how I'd approach it? That's it. That's a whole conversation. Pause here. Write down 5 names right now. 5 people you already know who might have a problem in your area. Don't overthink it. 5 names. That's your starting point. If this is useful, subscribe. I put out practical content every week for professionals building something on the side. No fluff, no hype, just what actually works. The mistake I made first. I want to be honest with you because I didn't start with a warm network approach. I did what everyone told me to do, and it cost me time I didn't have. Before I got that first yes, I thought I had to look like a real business. So I spent weeks agonizing over a website. I bought the domain, I tweaked the logo, and I tried to perfectly design a massive, complicated offer before ever talking to a real human being. I poured my limited 5 to 10 hours a week into building something that nobody asked for. When I finally hit publish, nothing. Crickets. That expectation gap almost made me quit entirely. The shift happened when I stopped hiding behind a screen and just started talking to people I already knew. Same skills, same knowledge, completely different result. But here's the part that really changed how I approached everything. Being employed isn't a weakness when you're looking for clients. It's actually your biggest asset, and almost nobody realizes it. Here's something nobody tells you when you're employed and trying to build a business on the side. You're more credible than you think. When you're still employed, 3 things are true that are not true for most entrepreneurs. 1, you're not desperate. Clients can feel desperation. It makes them hesitant. When you have a salary, you're choosing to work with people. That changes the entire dynamic. 2, your job title is proof. You're not an unknown quantity. You have a track record, a title, and a professional reputation. That's more powerful than any website you could build. 3, you can afford to be selective. You don't need every client. You need the right one. That selectivity makes you more attractive, not less. Most side hustle advice is written for people who've already quit. It assumes urgency and scarcity. You have neither. Use that. Within a month of my first client, I had a second conversation lined up. Same method, different person. But here's where it got complicated. 2 clients, a full-time job, a young family at home. And suddenly the thing I've been building to protect my family started threatening the very thing I was trying to protect. I was missing bedtimes, I was distracted at weekends, and my wife didn't say anything. But I could see it. There's a specific framework I use now that keeps everything running without the guilt and without the burnout. And the first principle of it genuinely shocked me when I figured it out, because it goes against everything the productivity world tells you. That's in the next video. See you there.